Everything in this city starts with a pulse, a heavy, relentless friction that sets the pace before you even step outside. This is Lagos, a space of extreme physical and social gridlock. In environments this dense, human interaction becomes a constant collision of agendas. Most people adapt to this pressure by either fighting through the chaos or hiding from it entirely. But there is an anomaly operating within this gridlock, a highly perceptive mind that reads the exact pressure points of a room and orchestrates the environment from the inside out. They don't fight the friction, they manipulate it. The mechanism behind this anomaly relies on human neurology. They walk into highly volatile rooms without a standard social agenda. They aren't hunting for validation, they aren't trying to establish dominance. When people intuitively sense this lack of an agenda, their threat detection systems recognize the space as safe, allowing the chaotic energy of the crowd to naturally open up and stabilize. By creating this deep sense of safety, they act as a mirror. They reflect people's real selves back to them, rapidly accelerating intense social connections and communion without actually draining their own emotional resources to make it happen. If you look at traditional social roles, the transaction is obvious. An extrovert generates energy, but burns right through it. A leader commands a room, but carries that emotional weight home. A catalyst speeds up the reaction, but exits structurally and emotionally whole. But reading a room that closely carries a heavy cost. When your mind is constantly running diagnostics on the collective nervous system of the crowd, you stop participating in the moment. You become a perpetual anthropologist in your own life, present but entirely removed. Because this work happens quietly in the background, a dangerous pattern emerges. You find yourself consistently regulating chaotic spaces, inadvertently fueling your own energy to people who haven't earned it. You become a quiet engine for someone else's trajectory. You engineer the perfect environment, orchestrate the chemistry of the room, and then watch as other people take full credit for the very connections you built. A catalyst stuck in someone else's reaction never runs their own. By dedicating all your mental bandwidth to managing the people around you, your personal progress grinds to a halt. Years of absorbing this exhausting friction and passively fueling others takes its toll. In 2023, the system finally reached its limit, leading directly to a total social and mental deconstruction. The only way out of that loop is to cut the signal. In 2024, this required a total strategic withdrawal. A void year designed to pull the plug and step completely outside of every social reaction. The objective was strict isolation. Instead of constantly reading the emotional temperature of the room to enable others, the highly perceptive frequency was deliberately turned inward to analyze itself. This diagram shows Leonardo da Vinci's anatomical studies, mapping the hidden physical structures of the human body. The exact same rigorous cycle was applied to the mind. Observe the interaction, document the physiological response, test it in the real world, and return with hard data. By treating lived experience as behavioral science, the hidden vulnerabilities of the mind were mapped out. This isolation provided the precise laboratory time needed to draft an entirely new operational blueprint. The result of that isolation was the Denzel reset, a conscious decision to shed the friction of the past and install a highly calculated framework, a system called Catalyst OS. The system operates on unbreakable laws. Law 1 relies on AI. Law 2 recognizes wealth is infinite, rejecting scarcity. Law 3 prioritizes high leverage value. Law 4 cuts out energy vampires. And Law 5 treats hardship as a setup for future ease. But the most crucial shift in this operating system is application. It is the definitive move away from passively regulating the social chaos that already exists in a room toward actively architecting the environment from scratch. To control human chemistry, the OS manipulates 3 specific structural levers. Spatial design dictates how people physically move. Programming controls the timing and flow of energy. And guest curation meticulously selects the exact reactive elements allowed in the room. By synthesizing event management, psychology, and spatial design, the hyper-perceptive mind stops functioning as a passive mirror for other people's needs. It becomes a tool for precise environmental architecture. This poster marks the activation point. Sneakers Fest 2026 serves as the ultimate physical deployment and testing ground for this new operating system. It is built as a literal laboratory. Every square inch of the physical architecture is designed from the ground up to orchestrate the chemistry of the crowd. The text explicitly demands movement, a call to lace up and walk into the light. This space is engineered to force specific emotional outcomes into existence: deep safety for the nervous system, intense personal empowerment, and relentless forward momentum. Within this space, there is no passive observation. The energy of the crowd is deliberately and precisely structured, leaving absolutely no interpersonal reaction to chance. The 2026 timeline represents a clean break. It is the complete transition from merely surviving the fire of other people's chaos to building an enduring legacy of your own. To do that requires following one central mandate. You have to put your name on your own compound. It means stepping out of the shadows permanently. You must stop quietly enabling the success of others and claim documented public ownership of the social reactions you built. A catalyst's power culminates in owning the laboratory where the reaction takes place, dictating the rules of engagement rather than just competing within them.